Hi everybody, how's it going? Evening Steve, thanks for joining. See who else drops in, who's watching tonight, what you doing? Can you hear me as well? What is everybody vaping on tonight? I've got a bit of a buffet going. People are jumping in and out, so I'll just wait a couple of minutes. But how is everybody? Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining the live stream today. So I'm currently vaping on my Pulse Mini AIO. I've got the Bob Mini in there. I've got a braided 28 3 loop single coil in there, ohming out at 0.17. And stick that up. So got this in there, some unicorn milk. This is what I use in this borrowed tank because I accidentally double nicked it, so it's twice the nick, and I use this in my borrow when I need that bit of a kick. So I need that today, just a bit of a kick. So that's the first bit of my buffet I've got today. So I've got my homemade parallel box mod with MOSFET 18650. I've got the twisted messes on there. Oh, it's alright, that's cool, mate, that's cool. So, like I said, I've got that on there. I've got just a normal fuse Clapton build in there, ohming out at 0.11. And in that one, I've got my G14 classified juice that I can't talk about. It is a dessert flavour in that one. And then I've got the Tesla Invader 2/3 in dual battery mode with the Blotto on there. That has got an alien build on there. And I've been rocking this for over a month now. Flavour is still great on this. And in this, I've got another one from Darkstar, which was a Labs months back that hasn't made a return, Hey Yuzu. So that's a fruity flavour that I've been enjoying with the weather that we've been having so far. So that's what my buffet is so far. So I'm just waiting for your chat to show up, because I'm looking at two screens plus my phone. So if I'm not always looking in the camera, I'm not being rude. Oh, did you? What were you trying to build, Steve? What were you trying to build? So anyway, we've got a bit of vape mail, retro vape mail, which is that if you've seen my social media posts, you know that I've got something. I have opened the package, but I haven't opened the actual device. It's still sealed. Something I never got, but it comes with a kit. So that's what we're going to be using and building tonight. I've also got a beer there. That's one of them. I do have two, but one's still in the fridge, keeping nice and cold. So about midway, I'll have a quick break, toilet break, and grab my other beer and carry on from there. So if you're watching, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. So it's just not your day-to-day building. Well, most weeks live, it's not my day building anyway, but we'll see how it goes today. Hopefully we won't have no issues. So I'm going to get started because people are probably going to jump in a bit later. So let's crack open a beer. So I've got this one here. It's only a little can from Siren Craft Brewery. And this is a breakfast strout. I haven't even drunk anything yet. Reoccurring Dream. It's a breakfast stout. And this is a chocolate, malty and creamy stout. This is. Don't give up. Go back to it. So, glass there, it's been in the freezer. Nothing special, it's just my favourite glass that I like to use. Can't even talk, I haven't even drunk anything yet. So, let's go in for the pour. There we are. So, let's have a little quick sniff. They can definitely taste the chocolatiness in there. So, whoever's watching, whoever jumps in, cheers. Hashtag replay crew, cheers. Let's have a taste. Oh, definitely nice and cold. Now, that is chocolatey straight off the bat. So, I'm going to go with the G14 classified juice. Well, it will be for a stout, but it is dark. It's not really thick, but yeah. So I'm going to vape it with this, with the G14 classified juice, with it being a dessert flavour. I think it'll go well with this chocolate stout. Okay. So, that juice has brought out the creaminess. Hanky panky. How we doing, mate? Cheers, hope you've got something to drink, mate. Thanks for dropping in. But yeah, that juice brought out the creaminess of the stout, but it dulled down the chocolate. But cheers, guys. That's what we're doing. So, like I said, it's a bit different. I've got a bit of retro vape mail, so I'll open that, show you it. You'll get to see both parts of it because it's a kit, RDA and mod. Got it cheap, that's why I got it. Had it since Monday, so I've been very, very good not to open it and break the seal and check it. But it's a kit with a mod and an RDA in it. So I bought it because it was cheap, and plus I was more interested in the mod rather than the RDA. But I've heard good and bad things about it, so we'll see how it goes. So, working with one camera, as always. So, I will be moving it about. So, and I've got a few wires as well to deal with. So, I'll just move you into a position where you can see me better. So, there we are. And just adjust my chair. Going to stay in Liverpool for a few days, eh, Hanky? Is it just to see family? Well, obviously you've seen friends, but is it leisure or holiday or what you doing? So I'll just adjust this a bit down so you can see what I'm doing. I know there's a mess behind me. You don't have to tell me that. So let me just check on a few things there. That's all right. So let's get on with this vape mail. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm not showing any QR codes. So it's this by Tesla. It's the Terminator with the Ant-Man. Is it the Ant-Man? Yeah. The Ant-Man RDA. So there we are. I can look at that. I'm making sure that I'm not showing anything, but that's basically what you get in the kit. As you can see, it is sealed, so I have been good not to open it and have a little look at it. So I'm gonna adjust you a bit more down so you can actually see what I am doing. And let's get it open. I'm trying to not show the QR code. Neil Pitts, how we doing, mate? How's it going? So it comes in 2 parts. Modern stuff on the top and RDA at the bottom. So we'll start off with the mod part. So let's pop this off. So that's what you get in there. You get your user manual and a few other bits. Battery safety warning. A mini USB cable, which looks quite good. It's a braided one. Don't feel the best quality, but nevertheless, you get a cable in that, and then obviously the mod, which was more interested in, was the mod. So let's pull that out. So normally I wouldn't show you the mod and everything what I'm doing, but because I got this, it is hard not to do one or the other really. So pull that off. That is a nice peel. So that's the mod. I came in silver. It's the only one that they had. So you got Terminator just there on the back. Vent holes on this side. Little LED light there. Your mini USB for charging. You can charge this with the single battery that's in it. Magnetic doors. Not bad, but not great. But yeah, it's not great, but the door will still stay on. There's a tidgy bit of movement in there. Your 510 threading at the top there, which I do believe is adjustable. So I'm assuming that screw is height adjustable as well if you've got a short 510. Fire button just there. So as you can see, there's no, and that's underneath. So as you can see, there's no really any wattage up and down buttons. It's sort of a mech with protection. So you get the full power of your battery, which will probably be 4.2 volts. So a bit like bypass mode in a mod, a constant bypass mode. Your LED just there. It is. It already is. Yeah, fingerprint magnet. There. So your LED here will flash blue, I think, but it does go down in different colours as your battery goes down. It's got reverse battery protection, low ohm protection, all that, and it'll stop firing when your battery reaches 3.2, so you don't discharge your battery too soon. So that's the mod. So I'll just pop that back in there for now. So there is an underpart to this, which I'll just put off. There's all your spares just in there. We'll get to that. So your normal manual, and how do we get this open? Bite it open, that'll work. So you get your user manual that's in numerous thingy, your warranty or quality control card, extra post screws and coils and O-rings in there, good old Barbie screwdriver in there, and some, looks like, organic Japanese cotton. So get everything you need for the RDA. So that is the RDA. So this is the Ant-Man 22. So I've never had either one of these. I don't have one of these in my collection. But that's it there. It's got under coil airflow, a bit similar to the Kennedy, as well as airflow at the top, just there, which does open and does close off, and it's the same on both sides. So if you're not using your top airflow, it doesn't really matter which way you put your top cap on. That's underneath, designed by Tesla, 510 just there, protruding enough for you to use on a hybrid mech mod. Not too keen on the branding on it. I don't mind the Ant-Man 22, but I don't know, Tesla SIGs, I don't think it needed that. Proprietary drip tip, which is a sleeve, but a 510 does fit on top of there, and there is a spit guard there that you can remove. Linda McGann, thank you for joining, mate. I haven't seen you in here before. Thanks for joining. Everybody else that is currently joining. And that's basically the RDA. So let's try and take the top cap off and push that out. So that's your barrel section as normal, and your airflow control, your top, and then that spit guard. Now you can take that spit guard out. I will take it out, because don't really need it, to be fair. So simple deck. So this is velocity style deck, side mounted post screws. I haven't heard good things about these screws, so we'll see how it goes. Airflow that comes directly under the coil. Decent enough juice well. It's not deep, but it's not shallow. So dripping, you'd have to be careful because it'd piss out of them. Juice flows. A couple of notches just on the side there. I don't know if there is there. So you do have some notches just there in the top cap. So I'm assuming that will sit your top cap where your airflow is directly where the coils need to be. So velocity style deck, as normal, side mounted screws, which are Phillips. Like I say, I haven't heard great things about these screws, but we'll see how we go. And that is the RDA. So that's what we're going to be building on. So I want to build an alien tonight, a 2-core alien. Because with it being a 22mm RDA, I can't put anything mega in there with the space. So I thought I'd go with 2-core Alien 26 gauge. So last time I did a 2-core Alien and it was 24 gauge core. But today I'm going to be doing it with 26 gauge core. So slightly different in how you build it on your D core. So I'll get set up, guys. Let's get to the coil building part. Thanks to everybody that has joined tonight. I do appreciate it. Now I do have some lights here, but I don't know if it's going to make any difference or if it's going to make it worse. But we'll see how it goes. If it gets annoying, then I'll turn it off. So I'm going to get sorted here. No, I'm going to turn it off because I think it looks stupid and weird. So little table that I use to mount my stuff on. I do like to have everything eyes length. When I need you to get in close, I will bring you in close. Don't worry. My drill that I use is just a normal Daedalus Pro drill that I got with a kit that I used to use back in the day. You can use a normal cordless drill with forward and backward and reverse motion on there. I've already got my core holder in there. So that's a core holder that make sure that my wires are nice and flat. So I'm just going to mount this onto there like that. And using my clamp. Don't want that dropping off. Using my clamp that I got from Screwfix or whatever. If you do want these and you're starting to build, I think Aldi have got them at the... No, Lidl have got them at the moment where you get 2 nice heavy ones for £6. So I use that to clamp my drill down to my bench. It just helps with movement and stuff. Everything stays nice there for me. Swivel. The way I have my swivel set up is plain and simple. Just a vise that mounts onto my bench. Plaque of wood and some swivels. Now these swivels I did get with the Daedalus Pro kit. But if you want to get the ball bearing swivels, don't get anything less than ball bearing swivels. You can get these online on eBay or fishing tackle shop. But make sure you get the ball bearing ones. Don't get anything else because they'll just fail. And I've got 2 of them on there for that reason, just in case one fails, one still spins. So that is my swivel setup. So I'm doing 26 gauge dual core 26 gauge Aliens. So when you do your D core, you need to do it off a smaller wire. When you take away a wire, if you're doing a normal 3-core Alien, you do your D core off the same size wire you're doing your Alien with. When you're adding a wrap, you need to do it on a bigger piece of wire. So 2 gauges down to make it thicker. So because I'm taking a wire away, I need to do my D-core off a thinner wire, which is 28 gauge, which I do have a piece here from a different stream that I saved. So I'm just going to pull off some 26 gauge. I will be using my binoculars just so I can see. Yeah, basically. It's not as bad as that hanky panky. So a few things that I'll need will be some pliers to start off with. These are just some bent pliers that have no teeth, and some craft scissors that are simple to get. So I'm just going to pull. I'm going to hold this. It's NI80 wire, 26 gauge that I'm using. Soft wire. So I'm just going to hold this end and give it a pull till I feel a bit of resistance. And then I've got a straight piece of Kenthal. If you don't want to do it that way, you can put it in your drill. So I'm going to cut off about 25 centimeters, 250 millimeters. And I don't know what that is in inches for our American friends. So I need 2 pieces of this, which is going to be my cores. So again, I'm just going to pull off a piece like that and give it a bit of a pull till I feel a bit of resistance, and then the wire is nice and straight. So I need about 20, but I'm doing about 25. I like to have plenty of wire to play with in my chuck, and then mounting it to my swivel. And if I have to cut any off for whatever reason, I've always got extra. I don't have to get a new piece. So I'm just going to lock that off and get rid of it because I don't need it now. So that's my 2 straight pieces of 26 gauge, which I'll just pop there out of the way, just so I don't snag them or anything and they stay nice and straight. So because I'm doing a 2 core, I need a smaller D core wire, which is 28 gauge. So 26 gauge, 2 gauges smaller, 28 gauge, which is here, which I'm going to mount to my core holder and swivel. So when I need to bring you in close, I will bring you in close when needed. So on this side of my wire, as you can see, I've got a little L in there. It's just to stick out, so I've got something to mount my wire on. There is a little divot in there for it to center itself. So I'll just do that. So once I've got it centered, I'm just going to lock it down and lock that in. Like so. So I've got that piece sticking up just there. So in this end, I'm going to put a little L in there just for mounting purposes. I know you can't see it because of the chat, but if you just give us a second, I will show you. So I'm just going to bring my swivel up slightly. I'm not going to clamp it right down. So in this end, I have put an L shape in there. So I'm going to put it through my swivel. I'm going to pull this way, keeping tension, and then I'm just going to lock that in and wrap it around, still keeping enough tension that I'm not pulling the wire off, but I'm not snagging it in any way. And then I'm going to tighten up my vise and get this nice and taut. So you want a bit of resistance in there. Doesn't matter if it's too tight or not. That should be fine. Just like that. Make sure my swivels spin, which they are. So that's what I want just there. So 36 gauge is going to be my alien part. 36 gauge, sorry, NI80. So when you're doing aliens, whichever way you're comfortable wrapping your final wrap, you need to do this decore the opposite way. So for me, I like to wrap it over the top. So this bit that I'm doing now, I'm going to be wrapping underneath. If you're opposite, you're comfortable wrapping underneath, you do this part over the top. So this is what I'm going to do because I like to do it from underneath, because I'm more comfortable wrapping over the top. Just trying to keep an eye on chat as well. So I'm just going to mount this onto this little loop just here, and then I'll get you in for a close-up. So I'm just going to wrap that wire around there a few times so it doesn't go anywhere without breaking it. And the good thing about this core holder is I can go all the way to the top. So I'm just going to make sure my drill is in the reverse way. I'm just going to get a few thingies going, a few wraps going, which I've caught this wire just a little bit. Move that out the way. There we are. So now I'm going to bring you in close so you can see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I'm just going to lay my wire just there, just so I can get you in and seeing exactly what I'm doing, get you in at a nice angle. Get this locked in. There we are. Getting a bit closer. Try that. So, camera's not playing ball today. So that's a bit better. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, like I would normally if I'm Clapton in a coil, like a fuse Clapton or a normal Clapton, I'm just going to Clapton it. I'm not going to be holding my spool too tight. I'm going to go to all the way to the end because you need slightly extra wire than what you need for the wire that you're actually using. So 90-degree angle, I'm not holding the spool very tight, and I'm just going to let it go all the way down the line just here. But I want my core to be able to also move once I've finished as well. So let me get started. So hopefully my microphone is doing its job and cancelling out the sound of the drill, and I'm not having to shout. But I'm not holding my spool very tight, just holding it very light. Like I say, I want to be able to move that D-core off the core wire easily. So at this stage, if you go back on yourself, it's not a big deal. Just reverse your drill, take your wraps off, and then carefully get going again. This part, if you make a mistake, don't worry, just rectify it. It's when you do the alien part is when you can't go back on yourself. If you mess up, then that's it. You need to just carry on doing what you're doing. So thank you everybody that's here, that's joined, I appreciate it. People that are jumping in and jumping back out, I appreciate it. I understand this probably part of the vlog. If you're not bothered, then obviously you're not bothered. If you're learning, then obviously keep watching. So like I say, I'm just going to keep it going. I've got this at full speed. I've got these binoculars on so I can just check the consistency of everything. And plus I'm blind, I can't see that small. So like I say, I'm just going to send it straight to the end, not putting too much pressure on. I'm just holding my spool very light. As I say, I want that D core to move off the core wire very easily. Keep it at a 90-degree angle, making sure I don't go back on myself. But like I say, if I do go back, just stop, reverse your drill, take the extra wraps off and start again very slow until you get a rhythm again. Trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. Make sure I don't miss any comments or any questions. Feel free to ask. And if you're watching the replay, you can also comment in the comments on the replay if you have any questions. I try and get back to them all and answer all my comments that anybody makes. So I know I'm going a bit off camera, or it's going behind the chat on the screen. But I'm basically maintaining the same thing, 90-degree angle, not holding my spool too tight, and just letting it do its thing. So far so good of the build stream. So like I say, I'm just going to go to the end with this all the way to the end where my swivel is. It will, when I cut it, just recoil a bit. It'll move back. But I will get you in close as soon as I get to the end of this. So, just going to keep an eye on it at the moment. I'm getting near to the end. So, for those who are watching or just curious, these are my preferred wires that I like to use. There's no right or wrong way. It's not algebra, it's just simple math, basically. And if you've got 38 gauge, 40 gauge, do it. If you're learning how to do aliens and you're not quite confident with the shorter wires, smaller wires or thinner gauge wires, just practice with higher gauge wire if you've got some that you can basically use, which is what I did. I had plenty of Kenthal wire because I used to buy them in 200 meter spools. So to practice, I used 22 gauge or 24 gauge cores and 32 gauge just to get the feel of everything. So let me move you to about here, like that. See if I can get it. So there we are. So as you can see, I went all the way to the end, but because of the springiness, once you cut it will recoil back again. I have left a bit of a tail on there, which is what I want. So this end just here, as you can see on the top, I want it to be able to move, which it does. As you can see, it moves a bit, but obviously I've got it attached just here. But I do want it to move. So what I'm going to do is move you back so you can actually see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this end off, leaving a bit of a tail as well. Just going to move that off there. So this does move on the core, as you can see there, the tail there, and if I move it, it'll move back like that. So that's how you want it. You want it to move freely on the core. So I'm going to snip this off, being very careful. Slide your core wire, your D-core off your core wire, being very careful you don't snag it. Pinch it at the end, at one end, don't pull at another end, and I've just dropped it. So that is your D-core off the core. So that's that bit done. So now let's get our core wires mounted up and ready. Let me have a drink. Cheers again. Hope you've got something nice to drink. Beautiful. Let's get on this. It's one of those days I need something with a bit of a kick. So that's that. So I'm going to take out this 28 gauge. Like always, it won't get wasted. It will get used again, whether it's making coils or used as a decore like I'm using it now. So I'm going to get my two 26 gauge wires here like that. I'm going to make sure that they are more or less level, which is perfect. So I'm going to keep them level. I'm going to mount them into my core holder. So I'm just going to open this up. Like I say, I made sure I had plenty of wire for, like I say, this sort of thing where it's going to be put into the core of the drill. So I can highly recommend this core holder from the Friendly Coil Factory. Keeps your wires, if you're doing multi-core builds in line perfectly and flat, because anybody that makes coils know if you're doing more than one core, it can be a pain in the backside keeping them all straight and level. So you don't have to. I'm using a wire guide that came with the Daedalus Pro kit. If you haven't got that, use a paper clip, use Lego, use a key ring, which I do have here, that I use every now and then. You can use a key ring to keep them all flat and parallel for stuff just around the house if you haven't got one of these guides. So I'm going to make sure that the wires are parallel and next to each other, run my finger all the way down, and then I'm going to thread this wire over the core holder and just move it straight to the end. Run my hand down them, making sure that they're still parallel, keeping them nice and tight. Same again, if I can see where I put it. I'm going to put an L in the end, just makes it easier for mounting in the in my swivel. So making sure that they're all next to each other and nice and tight, and then I'm going to stick an L in there, keeping pressure going this way. Then I'm going to bring my swivel closer just to mount it into my swivel, and then we'll get down to business a bit. So mounting the L there, I'm keeping it taut this way. Just give me a bit more room. So I'm keeping it nice and taut. I want these nice and parallel, so I'm just checking again. Push over your wires and lock that in, and just do that and go around the wire like that and lock in, keeping it nice and taut, making sure this moves freely, which it does. So I'm just going to clamp this down a bit more just to be sure, and then I'm going to make sure this is nice. And Vaping Brumby, nice to see you, mate. Thanks for dropping in. So again, I want this pretty taut, but not too much. Maybe loosen that off just a tad. There we are. So that's a bit better. It's not too loose, and it's not too... Good evening, Charles. Jaff Vapes, nice to see you. So that's all parallel and nice and mint. Hope you guys have got something nice to drink. Currently got a chocolate breakfast stout. John Machinet, thanks for joining, guys. Thank you. Nice of you to drop in, everybody. So that's my wires mounted. So that's two cores of 26 gauge. Oh, you're eating a pizza, are you? Better not be no pineapple on that, Jeff. So now for my D-core. So now to get the stretch. Now, some people do the pull method. I do the stretch method. It's just good for me. This is where you've got to be careful, because if you overstretch it, you've got to start again and do another core. So I tend to sort of like stretch it, understretch it, so I've got a bit of a pinch on there. If you overstretch it, it's game over. You need to re-stretch it, do another D core and start again. So this is very important. I can't tell you how much to pull depending on the amount of core wire that you've got. A donut pizza. Yeah, smash that like button. Don't forget to smash that like button. Thanks for that. So I'm going to mount it to here. So I am going to make sure that my camera is where it needs to be, so you can also see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So there's me thingy, that, like that, so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using this clamp here. There was from Aldi again. Most of this stuff is from Aldi, so nice and cheap. So you got to be careful with your core wire, you don't snag it or disrupt it in any way. I tend to do the stretch, and I also look through my binoculars to see how much I have stretched the core wire. So I need to make sure that I'm on there. And make sure that, and this is why I leave a tail in both sides. One for mounting for the stretch, and then obviously one for pulling my core wire. So I want to make sure that's in there and locked in nice and tight and not going to move when I stretch it or pull out when I stretch it. So that's mounted on there. Thanks to everybody that's joined. So I'm going to take my curved pliers to pull. So I'm going to change my lens to a slightly thicker lens so I can see close up to the wire when I stretch it. Like I say, if you overstretch it, you have to start again. So try and get it just before it overstretches, or you've got a bit of a pinch there as well. Like I say, if you screw this thing up, you're going to have to start again. So let me move my chair out a bit because I don't want it too close. So I'm going to grab the other end with the other tail that I left. Make sure you're holding it tight so you don't drop it out of your pliers, and then pull. So I'm looking, because I know more or less how I want it to look. So I'm going to pull it straight to my door. So I'm going to let go of that now. Do not snag it. This is very important now. You need to keep an eye on this wire not to snag it. And just to make sure, I am just going to cut the end off that's got that little tail, because I have a carpet and I don't want it to snag on my carpet. So being very extremely careful. Live chat works better. Yeah, definitely live chat's better. So I'm going to place this underneath my chair. I want to make sure, obviously, I've got plenty of room. It's not going to catch on anything. My socks or anything, I don't want it to catch on anything at all. So I'm going to release this here. I will get you in close, so don't you worry. Here's a little close-up of sort of what I mean with the stretch, if it stops wobbling about. So you want it like a corkscrew, like that. Hello. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount it into here. So what I will do is I will bring you closer. bend you down so you can see what I'm doing. There we are. So I'm going to try and get you all zoomed in and perfect, which I think that is just perfect. Just let me lock that in. So I have no issues. There we are. Yeah, what's everybody using tonight? I'm using the Pulse AIO Mini. My homemade box mod. So I'm trying to get this to play ball so you can actually see what I'm doing. But my camera's been a twat, as always. Yeah, that's been a twat. Is that a bit better? There we are. That is a bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it in between these wires. So I'm just going to make a little gap in the wire. And then just feed that through. And then I'm going to use that just to push it all the way to the end. Now, obviously this is the pinch if you need it. Now, if you need it, hold your pinch. So I just hold it in between that. If you need to increase it, just obviously increase your pinch. If not, release it. Your first few rats will tell you if you need to pinch or if you stretched it just right. Make sure your drill's in the opposite way, because remember we did the decal from underneath and I prefer to wrap it on top. So, like I was saying, use your fingers obviously to pinch. Now, some people say twist your hand if you want to increase your pinch and do that. Don't do that, because then obviously it makes your decal spiral until you get to it, and it might not. So don't do it that way. Hi everybody, hi Dub VFPV. I don't think I've seen you in the live before. Welcome, thanks for joining. If you're not here, if you're new to this, I'm making a 2-core alien coil. So I'm trying to keep up with chat as well. Stubby with the Nitsu. Is that with the normal top cap Nitsu, or is that with the condensed cap the Nitsu you're running? But sick setup that is. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to check my obviously get a few wraps on there and check if I need to have a pinch or not. So I need to make sure that my drill is in the opposite way. Make sure I'm holding my wire. So it doesn't look as if I need much of a pinch. Now, when you're doing it, you don't want to do it like a Clapton. You want to hold your wire a bit closer to your swivel, so not at a 90-degree angle. You just want to be above that. Now, it looks like I've got a decent enough pinch on there. I've got a good groove going on, a decent speed as well. So I'm just going to send it. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's just the way I like to do it. I like to be consistent. But it looks like I've got the stretch just more or less bang on with this. So I'm not having to have too much of a pinch with it. I'm just letting it slide through my fingers. So that seems to be wrapping on there perfectly. Famous last words, but we all know if you've joined my previous streams, you know that can go tits up very, very quickly. But now that I've got a decent speed going, a decent groove, a decent pinch, I'm just going to keep it as this. I'm sorry if you go off and you can't see what I'm seeing, but I'm not going to adjust my camera. I'm not going to increase or decrease my pinch or anything like that while I've got it going nicely. So like I say, I hope I'm not shouting. I hope my microphone is doing what it should be doing, which is cancelling the sound of the drill being too loud in the mic. So I can see that there is some comments. I'm not being rude. I'm just keeping an eye on this and making sure it's nice and consistent. So in this case, if you mess up, you cannot reverse back on yourself and start again. You just need to carry on. Just keep going. If you mess up, you're just going to have to recover and carry on. That's all you can do basically. It's not like doing a normal fuse Clapton where you can reverse and start again, because you've got this twist in the wire and sort of like a corkscrew effect. Obviously your wire is going to be mashed and bent up where it's not supposed to be. So I know I'm off screen, I'm sorry, but because I've got a bit of a groove on here, I don't want to stop or do anything. So I'm sorry if you can't see what I'm doing. But basically that is the gist of it. So like I say, I got my stretch more or less bang on, so I'm not doing too much of a pinch. Right. I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but let's do this. Obviously, so you can see what I'm doing. Now, if you have to stop, just start up very, very slowly. Get your groove going again. And then once you've got your groove going again, just carry on. Like I say, you want to be slightly towards. You don't want a 90-degree angle. So like I say, I'm not going to go too fast or anything. I just want to keep it nice. I've got a groove going, so I'm just going to stick to it. But as it's going now, everything seems nice and consistent. So yeah, 2-core Alien, do your D-core off a smaller wire or 2 gauges up if you're taking away a wire. If you're adding a wire, obviously do your D-core off a thicker wire. So this is looking good so far, and let's just hope it stays that way. Because if you've joined my previous build streams or lives, you know they haven't gone to plan. Exactly, Kerplot. I did sort of see that thingy there. I will catch up with the chat. But this is my favourite top. It says my favourite people call me Grandad, which is my grandkids. I love my grandkids. So yeah, this is going pretty decently. A 2-core is probably a lot easier than doing a 3-core, because you haven't got the problem of your wire collapsing and stuff. But obviously if you're doing like a 3-core, you can have that situation where it can collapse on you. I would say start practicing with a 2-core Alien, but then you've got to be able to have a, oh, I've messed up there. Nice one. So I did mess up there because I went and bumped something. Hopefully that won't create an issue. And I can just flatten that bit out just there. So first mess up of the stream. Not to worry too much. Like I say, I'm not doing this professionally. I'm doing this because I use these coils. If I were doing them professionally, obviously the quality would be much higher. So I'm also keeping an eye on my lead as well because I'm getting to the end of my core. So when you get to the end of your core like that, you just got to be very, very careful and just slowly move your hand up slowly. Hopefully so I'm going to stop there because I've already messed up there. That's not too bad there. That's the only imperfection along the whole build just there. So let me just check up with the chat. So yeah, I've done that. Nice choice, yeah. Flavour banger for sure, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it, finally making it to the live, thank you. Kerplop, obviously, I haven't seen you as well, so welcome to the stream, welcome. All new people, welcome. So, yeah, Grandad's got his groove on, definitely. So, let's see if I can get you a close-up now of this wire. Which is not playing ball. I will get you a better close-up. I'll get you a better close-up in a minute. So, that's it. That went nice and smoothly. Which is perfect. And a shock also. So, let's get this unmounted. So, I'm just going to chop just there. Make sure I don't lose my guide. I am going to chop this tail off here because I don't need it. Chop this up here like so. Right, I'm just going to move some stuff about and clean up, and then we'll get a close-up of it, and then we'll get building the Ant-Man 22. So that's out the way. I will need that. I'm gonna change my lens back to what it was. So I appreciate you all coming, guys, and sticking with it. I appreciate all of you and everybody that has joined today's live stream. Do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing as well. So let's move this out of the way. So I've got a bit more room. And out the way. So So I'm here, take autofocus off. Right. Let's have a look. So as you can see there, that is a dual core Alien, nicely wrapped. Apart from that one, where are we? It's not wanting to focus today. Apart from that little mess up just there, as you can see. But that is nicely wrapped. Apart from that, I'm not too bothered about that. That's no here, no there. So let me check I've got enough, which should be perfect. So let's get stuff rolling. So let me get me building mod, which is this one here that I'm using. Let me turn you down a bit so you can see what I'm doing on there. So as I say, if you've just joined and you don't know, I had a bit of vape mail, got this Terminator. If I move that round so you can't see it, the Tesla Terminator with the Ant-Man kit. So let's get the RDA out and onto the mod. So has anybody tried the Ant-Man? Because I think they did 25mm, if I remember correctly. Obviously not with the kit. This one's come with the Tesla kit. Let's have a vape. Again, cheers guys. So let me find screwdriver. So I've got two there. They are Phillips. So I'll just see which one fits the best, which is not that one. So yeah, those screws are not the best. So I might be better maybe using a flathead with this, because that is extremely hard to do it with that. Let's see if I've got one that will fit in there nicely. Which I'm dropping stuff. So is that the one that fits? So we'll see how that goes anyway. If I need to use a smaller one. So Velocity style deck, which is proper old school back in the day. This changed vaping, this style deck, for ease of building and stuff. So that's that. That's that there. So let's get wrapping. So I'm going to do a 2.5mm ID. I'm going to be using my Coil Master jig. I'll be using the rod as well. I need to move that wire because I always knock it off. So 2.5, same again, Coil Master jigs that I'm using. I don't use the wrapping part of the jig because it just messes up your wraps. So I want about 5 wraps and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start at this end. I'm going to place my wire flat against the rod jig, the coiling rod, and your first wrap is always the hardest, so take your time with it. Wrap it nice and slow and tight. If you find that you've got twists in your wire, if you're using NI80 like me, it should come out in the wrap as you're wrapping it, because it's soft enough. And that's the 5 wrap. So let me see how that's going to go on there. It should be all right. I'm just thinking now, shall I go with a 5 wrap or a 6 wrap? So come on. That's a bit better. There we are. So that's a bit more of a close-up of the wraps and everything. So that's a 5 wrap. So we'll see how that goes with the 5 wrap. So I'm going to have an imperfection with this coil. I'm going to wrap it at the opposite side, just there. Normally I would just wrap if I've got a long enough piece, but if I want to add a wrap as well, I want to be able to sort of like do it from both ends, so it's easier to just add a wrap if need be. So there is a bit of a bend in that one, like so, and that's the other one. My camera is not playing ball today, and I don't know why. There we are. And that is the second one, all wrapped up just there nicely. So looking at the spacing that I've got, let's go with an extra wrap, I think. So let's go 6 wraps, 2.5mm ID. So I'm going to do the same on the other end. I'm going to add a wrap. So to make it 6 wraps. And then chop. So I'm going to chop that coil off there. So suppose if need be, if I need to take off a wrap, I can do that. But that should be good. And let's clear this up a bit. So thanks for staying, everybody that has stayed. I do appreciate it. Let me see if I can get you a nice close-up of these coils now that they are wrapped. There we are. So I've got 2 6-wrap coils, 2 core aliens, nicely wrapped there, with that little imperfection at the bottom, which shouldn't affect it too much. So let's get these mounted. So all velocity style decks were right easy, because if you had a coil like this with a leg at the top and the bottom, all you do is mount it, one in the top hole and one in the bottom hole. Now these are side mounted post screws. So obviously if you've got a more exotic build on there, if you've got a more exotic build on there, obviously you're going to have just a couple of issues with it messing up your coil. So let me try and keep it in. So I can tell straight away these screws are absolutely shite on it, and I'll probably benefit from using a different screw in there. Just let me see. I do have a set of screws. It's just I don't use them because obviously the Allen bits have just rounded on me. So let me see if I can find one small enough. So there's one small enough, or I believe it's small enough. Let me go smaller. So yeah, that's a bit better, but yeah, these screws are horrendous. Now I do have spare screws elsewhere. So I have mounted it just above that under airflow just there. So I am going to raise it, well not raise it, I'm going to pull it slightly, just so it's over the top, like so. So with these, the way you mount them, when you're manipulating them and stuff, just go in there for a final tighten of your screws, because the pulling will back those screws out just a tidgy bit. So just make sure that they're nice and tight on there. Chop your legs off, or not your actual legs, but your coil legs off. Will that make a difference if I go a bit closer? There we are. That's a bit better. So that's like that as well. And we should be good for space in there. So let's mount the second coil in there. I'm trying to stay in camera view. Oh, Steve-O! Thanks for joining, my brother. Appreciate it. How we doing? So I've already made the coil, Steve-O. I've done a 2-core Alien, and I'm just mounting it on. The retro build that we've got today is the Tesla Terminator kit with the Ant-Man. So that's what we are building today. But thank you for joining, mate. I appreciate it. Cheers. I hope you've got something nice to drink as well. And for those who don't know, Steve OCD, or never seen one of his live streams, go and check him out. He does a live stream every Monday. If you're in the UK, it's about, I think, half 11. half 12 or 12 o'clock. Go check him out. He does a live stream as well. You got some coffee? You more or less always drink coffee, Steve-O. But whatever you're drinking, perfect. Cheers. So that's what we've got there. So that's what was good about these old style velocity style decks. They were very newbie friendly, especially if you was getting into or starting to make coils. It was brilliant, especially for clipping your leads as well. So I'm just going to get in there and clip these leads off. Watch your eyes. And then also being very careful not to clip your coil as well that you've already got mounted in there. So that's off. So same again when you are moving your coils around and stuff and pulling on them and getting them into position where you want them. Just go up, especially if it's an old RDA like this is. You just want to make sure all your screws, if I get the right screwdriver, all your screws are nipped up just nicely. Because they will back out. Maybe not on more modern RDAs today, but they will back out. So that's nicely mounted on there. Not perfect. Let me move that down a bit to the airflow. I want it just above that airflow. Just there. Just nicely. And they look all right. Bit of wonk on that one. And some people don't like wonk. That's better. Dr. Pepper and water. I'm drinking a chocolate breakfast stout. I do have another drink, which I will have a break in a second and go grab it and have a quick potty break. But yeah. That's it mounted. Let me move out a bit. So 2 core aliens just there. Perfect. Velocity deck, yeah. Definitely. Especially with the way the screws mount on the side, they do mess up your coil a bit. Well, that's a close-up just there. So I've taken it off. I'm just going to cancel out my mod. See what the resistance comes up to before we fire it and pinch it. And then we'll get it wicked up. So as this is sitting right now, it's sitting at a 0.1 ohm. So I'm going to do it down to about 30 watts just to get some heat in there, see if there's any hot spots and stuff. I'm just trying to keep in yeah. So I'm going to try and keep it in there and see if we can get it going. Appreciate that, Steve-O, and I really appreciate you joining as well. So I'm going to introduce some heat, give it a strum. Introduce some more heat. There we are. So as you can see, it is heating up on one side, and I'm going to pump it up to 40 watts, get a bit more heat in there. Now, a lot of people just pinch, strum. I do a bit of both. I pinch and I strum. So I'll start off with the strum if I need it. Got some decent colour on there. So I'm going to separate them a bit. So I'm just going to give them a little tug. So just grab hold of them just there and give it a little tug, and I'll do the same with this side. Got some decent colour on there, a bit of blue. And then start again, introducing some more heat. So if you get situations where it's just heating up one side, just go around with your screwdriver again and just check all your post holes are still nicely tight. And one thing I didn't do as well is check my 510, which is something I always do. And that was just a tidgy bit loose. I'm still in camera view, aren't I? Yes, we are. There we are. Give it a strum. So in this situation, this is where I would give it a bit of a pinch. Just give it a little bit of a pinch. Like that. So keep working with it. Rub and tug, exactly. There we are, we're starting to come out nice now. I'm making sure that there's no hot spots or ever. There is some hot spots in this one. If you do get that, sometimes popping your coiling rod straight through your coil helps as well. There we are, that's coming along a lot better. Get some more power in there. So this one is doing good. This one is being an absolute twat. There we are, that's a bit better. Keep strumming, just keep working with it. It will eventually come out. You want your coils obviously glowing from the inside out. You don't want any sort of like lightning bolts, which is what we refer to as hot spots, is little lightning bolts. Just work them out, give them a strum. So that's looking good already and better. There we are. So that's perfect for me. So I'm going to give them a couple of minutes to cool down, and I'm going to cancel that mod. I'm going to give them a couple of minutes to cool down. I'm just going to have a quick break and grab my other beer. So whatever you're doing, just chill out for a couple of minutes. I will not be too long. So I'm just going to take that off, get that on, and I will see you in a couple of minutes. Music won't kick in straight away, but you know, you will hear it.
We keep it lit, clouds so thick we never quit. Be back in a jiffy, don't shoot straight. Rewick, refill, and vape all day. This ain't goodbye, just a little break. More bills, more chill, more clouds to make. It gets more than a day. Call tight, flavor
I'm back, guys. Thank you for waiting. Get this chat back up. Right, thanks for waiting, guys. I appreciate it. So, my other drink that I've got is this. This is my favourite. I featured this many times on my lives because it tastes exactly what it is, and it's absolutely beautiful. Nice and cold. I'll crack that open once I'm built, and we'll talk about it a bit more. Like I say, I've never had one of these. This is new, so we're going through this together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw that back on now. It has cooled down and get the final resistance. So I do appreciate you guys sticking about. I did bring up my chat, didn't I? Yeah. So, final resistance came out to a 0.16. I won't be vaping it at 90 watts. So I'll just turn it down just in case. So, cotton that I'm using currently is still this cotton. I'm waiting for this to go so I can get some proper cotton. But I do use organic Japanese Muji cotton, and I like Kendo Gold Edition as well. I also like Firebolt cotton, but it's just my preferred one. These ones were cheap. This is why I'm using it. But yeah, I've probably used a whole load of different cottons over the years. I prefer Kendo Vape cotton is what I prefer. So 2.5mm ID. I'm just going to thin this out just a tad. Make sure it's fluffed up and then spin the end like so. Yeah, I tried it years ago, Steve-O, and wow, just wow. It's got a good high heat resistance. It's super absorbent as well with juice. And I find it can be really, really hard to burn it as well. So I should get 2 coils out of this. My small scissors. So with the deck not being too deep, I should be able to get 2 coils out of this. And same with that one. And get it through. And this has been an absolute twat because I'm live. But then just pull that through just nicely. So I haven't got it completely tight. I've just got a nice bit of resistance on there, which is what I want. I'm just going to chop that curled end up. So anybody that doesn't like to waste cotton, I've done that with 1 strip. Yeah, definitely. Once it's saturated, boy, Flavor Town, here you come. So, looking at this, I am going to thin it slightly. I don't want that deck to be too packed. So I am going to thin it out slightly. Obviously, the more chunkier parts, I'll thin it out just a tidgy bit more. Just to help with that capillary action. And then give it a final little trim each side. So if you see me throwing stuff under my desk, I have got a bin under my desk. I'm not a mucky sod. I'm just throwing stuff underneath my desk. I do have a bin. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a mic vapes tuck because that seems to work for me. Especially with these tweezers. I seem to just be able to tuck it in like mic vapes in there and not pull it back out. So that is perfect. That just enough to hit the bottom of the deck there and making sure it's out of the way of the airflow coming from underneath the coil. So like I say, this is the Ant-Man 22. It has airflow like the Kennedy, if you're familiar with the Kennedy. So it's on the base of the RDA there. And my phone is having a really hard time at the moment. There we are. I've got to move it slowly. There we are. So that's wicked nicely, nice and fluffy and duffy, like so. So that's the top cap with the top airflow, like that. So I'm not too bothered about the branding. I don't think it needed it, especially that Tesla cig. I don't think it needed that either there. So with this juice that I'm going to put on here, I'm going to be using a juice that I'm testing at the moment. I can't really talk much about it apart from it's a peanut butter juice mixed with something else. Very, very, very tasty, this juice. Should go well with this drink that I've got. Yeah, true. That is true. Everything goes wrong when you're live streaming. Everything goes wrong. So I'm at 40 watts. I'm gonna get some juice in there, get those coils nicely set up, and then I'll get the mod out and we'll go from there. So I'm going to do some dripping on the coils, being very careful, pressing that fire button to draw in that juice. Obviously, I don't want to pour too much juice on that it goes down that airflow. I want it to suck that juice in nicely. So obviously you will have to be careful as well. So let me bump that up to about there. So that seems nice. Get some more on there. I want that properly saturated. And there we are. All saturated and ready to go. So, gonna pop the cap on until it sits. So it does have catches on there. Oh, what I didn't do was remove this spit back. This spit back can be removed. I'm not keen on spit back, so I am just going to remove it. It does just pop out. There we are. So it does pop out and you can pop it back in as well. There is a bit of a curve on it, but I don't need it. I'm not going to use it. So it's just fully open like that. Proprietary drip tip on there. I'm going to start off with the top or direct airflow completely closed and just go with the airflow going underneath the coil. And that's locked in and ready. So yeah, a friend of mine, he makes my juice for me, and I asked him to make me a peanut butter and another one juice. So he says, I'll send you out a tester to have, and if you like it, I'll make you it. And I do like it, so when I've got a bit of money saved up and stuff, I will be getting a litre bottle of that off him. But it is mixed with something else, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So that is the RDA. So that's it. Let's get the mod. So that is the mod. So like I said, I've heard good things and bad things about this. One of them being saying that 510 is not always great. Sometimes it breaks, but we'll see how it goes on there. So what I've seen as well is it doesn't matter which colour Tesla Terminator mod you get, you'll always get the stainless steel RDA on top. So let's get a battery. So I'm using a Molicel P28 battery with a mashup booby wrap on there with all the girls, similar to my mat that you see here. So that battery goes in upside down, similar to a Borrow device. So, and it's a nice tight fit in there as well to get in there. That LED did flash blue. So I do like Tesla devices. I do have some. So, and it's nice, a bit stealthy as well and small. Like I say, when I got this, because I got this so cheap, I was more interested in the mod rather than the RDA. But the fact that it came with a rebuildable, that was, you know, a bonus for me. But yeah, that's that. I'm going to, obviously your indicator is on there. It'll change colour as it goes off. It does, it's sort of like in a bypass mode. So it's like a mech, but it's got protection, short circuit, and low ohm and heat resistant protection on there. And then once your battery gets down to 3.2 volts, it'll just cut off. So have we got vapor? And we have. Got a bit of a crackle on there, not too much. So that's it, built and ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly tidy you up and then move you back to where I can talk to you a bit better, and we'll talk about it a bit. Because like I say, I haven't used this before at all. So it's sort of, even though it's retro, it's a new try for me. So let me get stuff out of the way and stuff that I'm not using back away. But boy, just test firing it, that peanut butter, I know it's gonna be absolutely pucker with this drink, which is my favorite one so far. From Northern Monk, I believe it is. Is it Northern Monk? Yeah, Northern Monk. And that's that. Put that away. Make sure all this is away. That's away. And just a bit more tidier. And I can take these binoculars off as well. So thanks to everybody that has stayed and kept with it, with the live stream. I appreciate you all. Plenty of love. And like I say, anybody that doesn't watch Steve-O or Steve OCD, go check out his YouTube channel as well. Like I say, he does a live every Monday. So if you're in the UK, I think it's about midnight or half 12 is when he does his streams. So go check him out. Go give him a subscribe and stuff like that. And check him out. So let me move you back up so you can see me. I just want to make sure everything's hunky-dory with this, which it is. I want to move that out the way. So I am playing with a few wires as well. So let's get you about there. And let me get readjusted and stuff closer. So nice wide angle of my room, what it looks like. And just let me get my camera adjusted to where I want it to be. So bring you up a bit like that so you can see me. Move you a bit like that. Right, and we're back to FaceTime. So that's it, looking a bit better. So like I say, no wattage to adjust. It runs similar to a mech, but it isn't fully mechanical because it does have protection and stuff like that. So just think of it as a mod that you can't adjust, that's in constant bypass mode. So the full power of your battery will hit your atomizer, and as it depletes, obviously your battery depletes, but it will cut off at 3.2. Which is that. And then obviously this peanut butter juice, it is mixed with something else. I'm not really allowed to talk about it, so that's why I'm just giving you a bit of insight of what's in there. So there is peanut butter mixed with something else, and it's just, oh, dessert juices is my thing. I very rarely have fruity vapes, which I have been doing because it has been quite warm here in the UK. It's been 30-40 degrees, so I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit in America for Steve-O, but for us in the UK that is very, very hot. We're not used to this weather at all. So this is, I've opened it without showing you, so I'm gonna have to be careful. So it's from Northern Monk, it's a Bertha, it's the world famous chocolate cake stout. And when I say it tastes exactly like that cake, it tastes exactly like that cake. And it is a whopping 8.4% alcohol as well. So let's go for the pour. It's nice and thick. And there we are. So, cheers again, guys. I think this will go really well with the peanut butter juice. Wow. My current favourite drink at the moment. I don't drink that much. I'm not a big drinker, but I have started drinking on my live streams that I do every weekend. So, here we are again with that. Cheers to you, Steve-O, as well. Really appreciate you joining, mate. I really do. So, it has got a little bit of a crackle, not too much. So if you like your crackle, that's good. So I haven't got the top airflow open. I've just got the bottom airflow. So we'll try it like that first. You know what? That's not a bad RDA. Is it great? No, it's not great. But flavour on it, I know how this juice tastes. So one of the good things about this, obviously now that I've taken that spit guard out, I can just dump juice straight down the middle. But remember with that airflow, you don't want to be dripping too much because it's just going to piss out the sides just there. So I'm gonna, and there's a decent amount of power in it as well. So let's pair this. Might help if I vaped first and then drank it. So let's start again. That juice goes with that drink. Now I have noticed straight away using this, I've had 2 or 3 rips on it and this top cap is getting really, really warm. So watch your lips. Wow. The best way I can explain that flavour going with that chocolate beer, Steve-O, is Reese's peanut butter cup. That's what this juice tastes with that. Excuse me. That really isn't a bad RDA. Like I say, I've never used the Ant-Man. This came as a kit, so obviously if you've been seeing my social media, you'll know where I bought it from. This is going really cheap at the moment and there's not many left. So why don't you grab it? It's nice, decent. I mean, I paid £9.50 or £9.50 for this. And you get a mod and an RDA. That is banging. And to say it's not new, it's a nice little startup kit if you're getting into building or stuff. That is a nice RDA. It's not, like I say, it's not great, but I'd happily rock this all day. It's nice and stealthy. It fits in the hand. I do have big hands, though. But it's a nice little thing. I did, like I said, when I originally bought it, I did just want the mod. I was more interested in the mod. And they only have it in this colour as well. So, just before I get a strike, YouTube, I'm not promoting this device. This is a retro device. It's just educating people and stuff. But yeah, nice little device. And I did want sort of like a little sort of like box mod for my 22mm RDAs. And vapor production is great. Feels nice in the hand. Now this is the silver one, not the stainless steel one. So it's not much of a fingerprint magnet apart from that button. But it's not too bad from a distance. I suppose if you're really up close you will see the fingerprints and stuff. But it doesn't do that bad at all. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just having a right good time with this. And it's hitting perfect. So the mod, no wattage, plenty of protection, sort of like a mech. Which, best way to describe it, it's constantly in a bypass mode. You know, like if you've got a regulated mod or a wattage mod, and you can have a bypass mode. It's basically in that. Got some nice venting holes at the back for your battery on both sides. Some nice meshing. The magnets, they're not great, but they're not bad. I mean, it's not gonna fall off. There is a bit of rattle, a bit of door movement, but you don't notice it. So basically, yeah, it's got a board in it because it's got protection. It's got low voltage protection. resistance protection, because I believe this fires down to a 0.1 ohm, so anything below that it won't fire on it, it'll just flash. But it's flashing blue, still got plenty of power. But Steve-O, this one I made myself. This one's got a MOSFET in it. That's one I did myself. But it hasn't got all the protections there, like reverse battery protection and stuff and all that. Like this one doesn't. That one doesn't. You put your batteries in wrong. I haven't put any fuses on it, but I know what I'm doing. I'm right meticulous with my stuff, so I always make sure everything's safe before I'm using it. Great flavour, and it is kicking. So straight off the bat, very easy to build on. Velocity style deck, so it's very easy to build on. Get your wires in there, clamp them down. The screws on this are shit. I'll end up swapping them out for an Allen key grub screw on there, just to make it a bit better. But I am actually shocked with the RDA. We'll see how this goes. One of the horror stories that I've heard is the 510 breaks off. So I'm hoping that isn't the case, or that doesn't happen with it. Oh, Steve-O, I've been wanting to build my own mod for years. I'm saying it as far back as 2015, but never got round to doing it. And then a couple of years back, or a year back, I thought, you know what? When I save up some money or I get some birthday money, I'm going to make my own mod. Excuse me. And for about £100, I made actually two mods. I made this dual parallel one, and then another one on my shelf up here. I made this one, which is a purple one, exactly the same with MOSFET, but this one's series. And I did something a bit different, obviously, with the button on this one. I wanted it in the middle, so I fire it with my middle finger, just something different. Just there. I find it comfortable to use. Like that. Oops. And same with this one. I put the button on the side on this one. But that kicks like I don't know what. So yeah, that's it. I keep showing you it. It's really beautiful. I like the mod. I really like the feel of it. And like I say, vapor production is brilliant on this. Obviously, probably one of the cons is you can't use your own drip tips on there. You can, if you can get a custom one for it, because it's a sleeve. The only downside to this is it does take, it does actually take a 510 drip tip. But you've got to take your sleeve off. Or not your top cap off. Let me try this again. So, as you can see, it's a sleeve, a bit similar to the Colito. It's a sleeve. So you can put a 510 drip tip on there, but then obviously you've got those O-rings. Yeah. I think one of the reasons why I like doing retro stuff is it can be cheap and you can find really good gems. But most of the stuff that I've got, Steve-O, I use on a daily basis. I don't have many new stuff because of obviously money situation with me. I mean, my most recent one, which you'll obviously know, is the Bonza. And I have mentioned in other thingy, I am running this with the single coil reducer with a 2.5mm. And I will say now, I did get this idea off Steve-O's live to try it, and I have tried it. And I've had these coils on this one. This one's my bench warrior, the OG Hammer of God. And that's kicking. And I got that idea off Steve-O's live. So that's single coil airflow reducer in there, 2.5mm dual coil, not a single coil, dual coil. That's a bit dry, but dual coil. And I've had these on, I probably need a bit of dry firing and stuff. But I've had these coils on there for about a month now. And that's my desk warrior that I use on there. And I can't rate that RDA enough. It's been ages since I've RDA that's run good in dual coil, single coil, squonk, squonk mode, normal mode, any mode that I've vaped it has been delicious in every which way. Yeah, so shout out to Frame Jenkins for that idea. I have tried it. So shout out to him. Like I said in other streams, I haven't taken credit for that idea. I have mentioned that. It is. So if you ever want to see, I did do my first live stream on the Bonza. And I do buy new stuff. It's just most of my stuff is all retro that I still use. And also, just let me refresh this. Because I am looking at two screens if I'm not always looking at the camera. This one here, which is, I love this mech. It is an authentic, because I do have clones. But I got this authentic Descendant plus an Outlaw tube from a shop that had it. And I got that for a steal. I got it for £30 for 2 tubes, both authentic. And it does check out as well. They're definitely authentic. So I'm right happy with that one. Because obviously Steve-O will know, the creator that made Rig Mods obviously passed away. And just to have one of them that is authentic, I'm happy to have in my collection. Because I do have quite a few bits and drawers full of stuff. That I will get round to doing on my lives. Like I say, I do a live every Wednesday, 8 PM UK time. So if this is the type of content that you like, or just learning how to build coils, I'm here every Wednesday. Join, like, share and subscribe. I know I keep showing this mod, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So probably a couple of cons is obviously you can't really use your 810s on there. There's no adapter. If you want to use a 510, obviously you've got to take that sleeve off, and then you've got the O-ring showing. Easy to build on. Nice mod too. Okay, don't over drip. It's obviously a lot like a Kennedy dripper, if you're familiar with the Kennedy dripper. So the airflow is underneath. So if you over drip, obviously juice is going to piss out of there. So the juice well isn't deep, but it ain't shallow either. So obviously just be careful. So I have been vaping it just with the underneath airflow open. I'm going to try it. So you're going to have to forgive me, guys. My phone has decided to freeze on me. And obviously it's come back to life a bit. I appreciate that, Steve-O. I think because I conflict of live streamers, obviously, not many people watch the lives, but they do get the replay, crew. And I do appreciate you giving me a shout out on your channel. I will say that now while you're here, because a few of your viewers obviously have come over to my live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to waffle on too much. Thank you for everybody that has joined today's live. I appreciate it. Plenty of love. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also share it to people as well. If you think that they might be interested in this sort of content, or even getting into building, they can just watch a building section of my videos. Like that. So what I'll do is I'll leave it there. I won't waffle on anymore. I appreciate all of you coming to watch me, and I will see you next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. GMT UK time. So if you're abroad, you will have to obviously set your reminder every week. I do post on social media. So I'm just looking at my computer, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, because it's disconnected from my TV, so I can't see what's going on. So I appreciate that, Steve-O. I appreciate that. So what I'm going to do anyway, because I need to reconnect to my TV so I can see what I'm doing. So just give us a second. So I am still here. I'm just waiting for it to connect to my TV because I need to see what. Which is not working. There we are. I'm back connected to my TV. I can see what I'm doing. So I do have a few clicks to go before I leave. So yeah, dangle clacks. Exactly, dangle clacks. We do call them dangle clacks. Especially if you watch Steve-O and Grim Green, plenty of dangle clacks. So I do appreciate it. Like I say, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that like button as well. Share. I'm here every Wednesday, vaping something retro, building coils if you're interested in that, having a beer, having a chill, talking some shit, and plenty of good banter. So I appreciate all of you that have joined the live stream. Shout out to the hashtag replay crew and everybody, and I will see you on next week's stream. Thanks for joining. Love and respect, everybody.